I don't know. Yeah, maybe y'all saw. Maybe you didn't see. Maybe I mean, people can only watch so much news, you know. But y'all saw the president at the UN. This is. I didn't see everything as it was happening. I heard about some stuff later, right? So then I got a text message from my friend. They were like, "Oh, did you see what happened at the UN?" I'm like, "No, I didn't see what happened at the UN." And they explained to me that, you know, he was getting on escalator, and then the escalator stopped. Now, I thought at the time, I thought it was going very differently. I thought the escalator stopped on like a down escalator. That would have been a big deal. Imagine you on escalator. You have belief. You get on a down escalator, you're like, all right, this is gonna take me where I need to go. No need for a seatbelt. If that thing just stops, the momentum, whoa! Now the president's falling down the steps. So I thought that's what happened. Then I watched the video and I saw that he just walked up to the escalator, stepped on the escalator, and the escalator broke. And you saw him stand at the bottom of the escalator like, what? And Melania didn't miss a beat. She just started walking up the escalator. And so there were people that were like, this was sabotage. UN needs to be investigated. Somebody needs to be arrested, right? But then he made it up the escalator / stairs. And he went to speak to the UN. Went to speech for the whole of the UN. He's standing here, UN, over there. And as soon as he goes to start, the teleprompter broke. We know the teleprompter broke because he told us. As soon as he walked up, he told us, teleprompter broke. First the escalator, teleprompter broke. Nothing here work. Nothing. No, teleprompter. And it's like, look, if you're delivering a speech and it's been, you know, uploaded to teleprompter, then teleprompter breaks, all right, like, that is something to be annoyed or caught off guard about. But I'm sitting there watching like, why do you care that the teleprompter, you're not gonna read it, like you're not. Every speech is off the dome. Every speech you can tell every speech he's over here freestyling every time. Why do you even have a speechwriter? You know the president's speechwriter right now gotta be the easiest job of the world. You just over here typing up chapters from Great Expectations, knowing he's not gonna read it. Knowing he's just gonna go, you know what I mean? He goes off of vibes. What do you care that the teleprompter is broke? You weren't gonna look at it. You might have read the first couple sentences and then been like, you know what? I'm gonna speak from the heart. And so the teleprompter broke it, you know? And so he's like, I guess I'll just have to. Which was also wild because the speech was printed out in front of him. But he was like, no, you want me to turn pages? No. And then proceeds to, you know, give this address to the UN, and it depending on who you talk to, depending on whose opinion you're listening to, it did not go fantastic. Because the energy of the speech was like the normal energy. It was like rally energy, you know, like talking to his base or something. But this is the UN. They don't live here. Like they're not. Some of the stuff they don't care about. Like you talking to the UN. Everyone's here. He's over here like I inherited a mess and we fixed it and like years ago we were down in the dumps and now we're the hottest country in the world. He keeps saying we're the hottest country in the world and I don't know what that means. I feel like even the UN was like, so what? Climate change? What does it mean the hottest? This is also wild because like you talking to other countries right now. Why are you dunking on them right now? Then dude's over here. I ended like 7 wars. And it's just funny because like everybody he talking about is there. So now some of these countries look at each other across the desk like, I don't know. I didn't even, what did I say? Nah, it was incredible. And then there was a weird thing. I think it was Brazil. He was talking about the leader of Brazil and how, like, first of all, this dude also tariffing everybody. So then he was talking about how he doesn't do deals with people he doesn't like, but then he had a good handshake with the leader of Brazil, so maybe they could work something out. Even Brazil had to be like, yo, I don't know. I just saw him in the hallway. Out here trying to be cordial. I don't even know if this is good. Was this good? No, it's phenomenal performance. Truly, I've not seen anything like it. Just over here. I'm sure if you were at the UN just sitting there, you just sitting there quietly listening, looking over at other countries. There's some countries that had just be chuckling. Like countries that aren't in the mix, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like a key member of BRICS or you're not, you know what I mean? Like if you're not like in the news in that way, you just come, you enjoy the show. You know? Like I imagine maybe Zimbabwe might have been cracking up. They'd be like, that's your friend. That's your friend. But that wasn't the only incredible performance. That wasn't the only press conference. Because they held a press conference because they found it. They found it. They nailed it down. They found the cause. That's what they said. No one gathered everybody together, got the press conference going on. Looked like it was in the Oval Office. Yeah. And they were going to talk about the causes that they had found, the root cause of autism. This is what they said. And so, they walk in and you had Dr. Oz. Dr. Osmosis himself. Dr. Ozymandias. Like, Dr. Oz is standing there. And like, why? How did this happen? If we are just gonna start putting people from TV in real, like, government position, in real medical field, can we at least get somebody from like Grey's Anatomy or something? You know what I mean? Like, if we are already not being serious, can we not be serious better? Who is checking for Dr. Oz besides Oprah? Who is? He's standing there, doesn't even really look that healthy himself. This man's advice so far has been actually insane. They've done interviews with him. He's, spoken to the public. Like, what would you suggest for Americans? The man's out here. If you want to, if you don't, look. If you don't want to be sick, be healthy. I wish I was joking. I can barely take credit for that one. I changed like 2 words. So you got Dr. Oz from TV on one side. And then you have y'all know who he is. And then you have RFK Jr. on the other side, looking odder than usual. If y'all saw it, you know what I'm talking about. RFK Jr. showed up. I don't know what's happening. Because it wasn't like a tan. Like, he looked like a bruised blueberry. Like, he looked wild, and nobody addressing it. Nobody saying anything. The president over here just trying to not use his peripheral vision. RFK Jr. is white. No, that is a white man. He's white. He's a white guy. But that's the first time I've ever seen a white guy and been like, he is colored. Like that. Yo, my man, what is happening? He just stand there like he's been holding his breath for 26 years. This is very bad. And then, I don't know who told him. I imagine it could have been somebody, higher up, but it could even just been an aide that told the president, okay, you're going to give this press conference, you're going to talk about links to autism, and what you need to do, this is very important, for legal, this is very important for a lot of reasons, what you need to do is say the name of the drug. Then you can go on and say the brand name. But you need to say the name of the drug, because the drug is what we're saying is the link, not one particular brand. So there are other like store brands that are this drug. You need to say the drug. Say the drug. You have to say the drug. Okay? Say the drug. And I'm sure he attacked it with that regular, bravado. I'm gonna say it, whatever. Get out of here. Let me work. Let me get in the zone, all right? I got you in my ear. I got him over here being purple. Let me work. Man, it goes up, starts the speech. is rolling. Is rolling with it. And then he hit a more than 8-letter word. And then the commander-in-chief, leader of the free world, in real time, in front of us, the American public, technically the whole world, because the internet, our leader in front of the nation, at a press conference they called. Our leader in real time sounded it out. I try really hard. No matter who somebody is, no matter the background, no matter the situation, really treat people like equals, not like look at people a certain type of way. We all struggle. We all have our different strengths and weaknesses and everything. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say it. If you are 80 and you haven't attacked a word before, maybe it's just not a word you ever going to get. Like if you... It's late. It's late for him to be sounding out new words. Because the word, he could see the word coming up. And sounded it out confidently too, just over here, some toast, and it's not like it was in the mic. You couldn't hear it into the mic, but you could tell Dr. Oz was standing there trying to do hard ventriloquism. Just... Dr. Oz was standing there like, just open your mouth, let me do it. Just... Dr. Oz was fighting to just, you could see him. See him in the face. I see him in the face. I said, Tom, I see the Trump. See him, man. I knew when he looked around, we were cooked. Like I knew it. When that man looked up from the paper, I was like, no, stay on it, stay on it. Stay with it, you almost got it. I was, Tom, I see him, I see him, Tylenol, and like that. That is also wild too. Gave us the full, what is it, Porky Pig? Gave us the full Tylenol. And he was hitting those teens that Tylenol extra hard. He was get this payback with those T's. Tylenol, don't take that Tylenol. When y'all see Tylenol, because it was rough. It was like you've been in third grade before. Remember when a teacher, I didn't even know this at the time, but it was basically when a teacher had like a hangover, and so then the teacher would just make y'all read the book to each other. At the time, I really thought it was about learning, and now that I'm grown enough to have friends that are teachers, I'm like, no, you had a bender. That's what this is. Don't try to put this off on the students. You seeing double right now. And so it would be, your turn would be coming up, and you would do things, somebody would be reading over here, and you start counting people and counting paragraphs. And then you read ahead a little bit so that when it's your time to read your paragraph, you're reading your paragraph all fast and everything. People can't even retain the information. Then, there'd always be that one kid. There'd be that one kid where it's like, when you get to his paragraph, that's going to last till the end of class. So you literally count your paragraph till you have to read, and then you count paragraphs, and you like, the bell gonna ring here. Sometimes it'd be a kid, everybody learns differently. We all have different abilities, and you do your best to be as patient as possible. I remember, I had one kid in my class that we would do that, and then his paragraph be coming up. And as soon as his paragraph start, everybody's like, and then he would start and he would be sounding it out and then hit the word and then sounding it out. Everybody learns at a different pace. Sounding it out, hit the word. Sound it out, hit the word. Sometimes he'd even go back, sound it out, hit the word, say the last three words together. He's learning. We're all learning. Everybody moves in their own time. But sometimes, I'll be honest with you, I was a kid too. I wasn't always patient. Sometimes he'd be sitting there and be like, and I'd be like, A, it's A, it's A, it's A, it's A. You already hit it. It's A, it's A. There's nothing left to do. It's A, it's A. It is A. You did it. High five. You did it. It's A. It's only A. And then you grow up and you mature and you realize that everybody's good at stuff. People aren't as good at stuff and everything. Because I'll tell you what, I could read. When I was a kid, I could read. Very good at reading. My math wasn't great. So then when it came to math, it was me who was like a little bit behind all the time. Especially when we got to like algebra. Because I could like, factor a little bit. I understood denominators and stuff like that. Like I felt like I was keeping up and everything. But when we hit algebra, all of a sudden the tables were turned. This is why you have to be as patient with people as you want them to be with you. Because I'm sitting there. And for the first time, there's letters. There's letters in the math problem. But I'm sitting over here like, and then he was sitting there like, it's 4, it's 4, it's 4. And so, he's over there. He went ahead and dunked on that acetaminophen and then went ahead and started saying Tylenol, started describing to the people things that were not on the paper in front of him. Which is why you definitely shouldn't be upset when the teleprompter doesn't work. You know is what you're gonna do. This man was just throwing out all types of wild claims. This dude was like, hey, look, the Amish, don't have any autism. And a couple times in this press conference, he would say something, then turn to somebody and be like, is that true? But man, no, it's all on the paper. They put it all on the paper. You had RFK Jr. turn from purple to red. Because then he just started going off on like vaccines in general, you know, and just started saying like, look, you know, it's too much. It's too much. And he's not the first person. He's not the only person to be saying that. It's too much at one time. You know, you got those beautiful babies and you shooting them up with 80 shots of liquid. The thing that stuck out to me about the liquid thing is that you could tell he wanted to say juice. You could tell he's like, they put too much juice in them babies. Nobody need all that vaccine juice. No, it was truly wild. And then it was over. And then it was over. I can't imagine what it must have been like to be on the board of Tylenol. If you're on the board of Tylenol watching this press conference, you over here probably on a whole roller coaster of emotions. Like, at first you'd be sweating because they had let it slip several times that this is basically what the topic was going to be and what was going to be said. It had been like, you know, pieced out, little flavor, little sprinkle here and there for the media all the way up until that press conference, right? But then, when they actually said it, I'm sure Tylenol was stressing when they said this is what the press conference was going to be about. This is what they were going to talk about. You work at Tylenol, you sitting there, edge of your seat. And then he goes to say the name of the drug, and you're probably like, this might not be that bad for us, honestly. Like, he almost said a cinnamon. We might be in the clear here. All we gotta do is come out with a label, no cinnamon in our product. We'll be fine. And then he says your brand name. Then he says your brand name over and over again. And now you're like, that's not good. That one came out perfectly. And then he talks about the Amish, and you're like, I guess if people watch the whole thing, they'll be confused enough to not know if they should take it or not. Because my thing is, look, why have such an unforced error? You know what I mean? Go ahead. You already got Caroline Levitt talking to the media all the time. Get her out there to start the thing. Get her to say the name of the drug and then walk off. Then you can go and just go off your vibes and everything. You had two people on either side of you that probably say the name of the drug all the time. Don't let him, but let Dr. Oz say it. Let him earn his keep. No, he over here supposed to be a doctor. Got the shortest name I've ever seen. Because I do my best to be up on the news, but I don't always want to talk about, politics and stuff. Sometimes there's stuff that happens that has nothing to do with anything political, and it just warms your heart to see it. You'll see a news story that captivates you, and it doesn't take you into like any sort of polarized position, Like I saw this South Carolina teacher that got arrested for using fart spray on the students as a punishment. Look, I'm not a teacher. I'm not a teacher. I come from like a family of teachers, people that work in education. And like kids have always and will always drive adults insane. It's like part of the bargain that we have. It's part of the truce, you know? It's like y'all won't do a Lord of the Flies. Y'all just be bad in school. And we'll pay the bills. And look, I can't imagine what it's like to teach, especially now. You have kids who genuinely, because of like lockdown and COVID and stuff like that, missed out on little pieces. You have adults now who missed out on like a full college experience. You also have little kids who missed out on having their friends over and, being able to socialize at a very specific point in their life. So everybody's been like knocked off their kilter a little bit by COVID and by lockdown, not being able to just be with each other. That's just, a fact. And because of how school was going in that time, you have people who are really behind because they didn't have that special attention. You had to do school on Zoom with a bunch of other students, and maybe a kid needed help and they couldn't get it immediately, not in the way you can get it when you're present, I can't imagine what it would be like right now to be in school, sitting there, trying to do my algebra like zzz, 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 zzz. And so then the kids come back to school and, some of them are excited to see their friends. Some of them are still trying to learn how to socialize. Some of them, maybe aren't as effective as others. But kids will be kids. Kids will be loud. They won't listen, all that stuff. And then what do you do if you're a teacher? You got teachers out here fighting for their lives just to try to teach you some English. You see videos of it all the time, teachers going through it because students don't want to listen, all this stuff. This is the person that's just trying to make sure you know how to spell. So one day, if you make it all the way to the White House and you have to address the nation, you won't be like, cinematosis. And so if you're a teacher, you know what I mean? What do you do? Like my teachers used to yell. Teachers yell. It happens. Hey, stop! And you can tell. There's a certain yell, especially when you got like a male teacher. There's a certain yell that you can tell you broke him because his voice cracked. You know what I mean? Like, if he's like, hey, hey, y'all, chill out, right? And he's had enough of it, and maybe you're the first period of the day. You know what I mean? Y'all being a little loud. Hey, listen up, right? Something happened at about 5th period and on. Where if you really got him at his wits' end, he'd be like, hey! Can't even help you people. That's how you can tell. That's how you can tell when a teacher really at the edge, when they just start talking to the students like they are society. Like it's like you do your best, You go to a state school to save money because you know you're not going to make it here. You got a passion for Spanish, so you try to teach it to you knuckleheads. Just truly, teacher ready to cry. Over here, you get that third shut up. Sometimes that third shut up doesn't have any bass behind it. It sounds a little bit, shut up! Leaning against the board. I don't know what to do. And so what do? You know what I mean? Yelling doesn't work. You can't hit them. Somebody came up with a plan. Somebody was like, all right, y'all don't respect me? Okay, y'all don't respect me? You will respect this. Because I've read different reports. Some reports say he was like doing a prank or whatever. Some reports say he was like mad about whatever. But I'm telling you, he could have done it for any amount of reasons. Maybe this dude didn't take his job seriously. Maybe, he was out here just trying to prank for fun. He's somehow like a teacher's assistant, whatever, and still hadn't like grown up. So then he's over here. Ooh, look at you, stinky, ooh. Ooh, stink butt over here, ooh. Maybe. But maybe he had had enough. You can only take so many spitballs to the back of the neck before you snap. Maybe this dude came in one day and was like, all right, look, I hate this, come to this, I really do. But please believe me, if you talk all the time or you never talked before, anybody can get it, all right? I'm not gonna lose my voice this week because y'all don't wanna learn. Anybody can get it. Anybody. I'm gonna put it right here. And I'm begging y'all not to test me. As soon as somebody's talking to their friend, he's like, what? He must have been brandishing it. He must have been wielding it because apparently, like, from what I read, like 100 parents complained or something. This dude got arrested, and then I think they said like 2 students went to the hospital or something like that. And I'm sure you over there in interrogation tried to defend yourself. They should have thought about that asthma when they were doing all that talking, all right? How do we know it was a spray? What if it was that talking that caused the asthma attack? Over here, mouth moving 100 miles a minute. I'm trying to teach something. Listening is easy to breathe. Because I wonder how much he must have done it. You know what I mean? Was it just off of anything? Just one little noise? Huh? Or did he wait? Was he like writing on the board, letting the chatter sort of build? And then that's the thing. When you're a kid in class, you always think you're good if you're just not as loud as the loudest person. But that noise rises the entire level of the volume, because now if everybody's talking a little bit, somebody's gonna get a little bit more confident, get a little louder. Everybody starts talking a little louder, and as long as they're not as loud as the loud one, now everybody's basically screaming just so they can hear themselves because they're all doing so much talking. And next thing you know, he whips around, hey! Y'all gonna learn today. Because even the school said that he did $55,000 worth of damage. How? It must just be in the walls now. What a month, you know? This is a lot has happened. Taylor Swift's album dropped. And OJ died. White women are having a month. This is... Wow, this month is for you specific. The 2 best things that could happen happened for you. Wow. You'd think this month was really named after a white woman named April. Like... Incredible. Nah, Taylor Swift is breaking so many records. Like, I'm sure she's breaking them now as I'm speaking. She released her album. It hits 300 million streams in the first 12 hours. It's like never happened before, ever. And people are freaking out about reading into the lyrics of every song. There's like scavenger hunts, there's everything. And this is the thing for me with Taylor. A lot of people trash Taylor, and I don't know, I don't get it. If somebody likes something, let them have it. Do you know what I mean? Like, it brings people joy. It's not hurting anybody, except maybe Taylor's exes. It's hurting nobody. Like, people are having a good time and stuff. If anything, I hope it makes the world a bit more compassionate, you know? There are a lot of people that like Taylor, and the people that don't get it. But I hope that the people that like Taylor will be able to give some grace, because I think that Taylor Swift, she does for her fans what wrestling does for dudes. Do you know what I mean? Like, because if you're not a wrestling fan, you're like, what are they even doing? Why are they moving all stupid? It's just... But if you get it, you're in it. And you're like, you just don't get it. You weren't there, you know? But they're very similar, you know? If you don't like it, you don't get it. And you're like, who likes this? And it turns out the answer to both is millions of people. You know? Same way that there are a lot of little girls and young women out there that want to be Taylor Swift, or older women that see themselves in Taylor Swift. I think every man in here has looked at a wrestler and... Every man in here has watched some wrestling at some point and then walked away like, I wish somebody would f*** with me. Like, I wish... I would just... There are people that listen to Taylor Swift songs and feel it. Like, truly feel, like in their bones, you can tell they feel the song. It speaks to them in a deep way, and they've never been in a relationship at all. Like Taylor's describing her breakup in an exquisite fashion, but then a person who's never been through anything is like, oh my God, yes, yes. It's just like that time this other totally unrelated thing happened to me, yes. Same thing with wrestling, you know? Wrestling storylines tear you up. You know? Like when a wrestler turns heel and he turns on all his friends. Guys watch that and we're like, just like Greg. Triple H, he really evil. Oh. I didn't grow up with money. I think it's funny when people make a lot of money and they're known as new money, you know? And people how they feel how they feel about it. You know, like a lot of athletes are new money, a lot of entertainers are new money and everything. But nobody ever talks about new poor. We never talk about new poor, and we don't feel bad for new poor. A new money backstory is always inspiring. It's always like, I came from nothing, and I studied hard, and I played football to the best of my ability, and then I got a scholarship. Got a scholarship to a good school, a scout school. And then I played every day like the scout was there every day. I put my body on the line, and I still studied as hard as possible in case football didn't work out. But you know what? I had a great game in front of a scout. They brought me out. Next thing I know, I'm getting drafted. And now I'm one of the top earners in the NFL. We love a story like that because it felt like all you really needed was to do your best, and you could make something out of that. So we love new money. But nobody ever talks about new poor. Not only do we not talk about new poor, we don't really feel bad for new poor. Yeah, but you ever hear a new poor story where it's like, oh, we've actually, you know, as a family, we were kind of a dynasty. We were rich for 250 years because we owned a lot of farms. Yeah, we owned a lot of farms, and, you know, we were big in tobacco, and so as the farming industry lended itself to a more industrial tobacco industry, we profited. And it was my great-great-grandfather that actually sold his shares in the tobacco company, and he had other ventures that he wanted to go into, and he had some sons, but only one of the sons really had kids, and so all the wealth just kept getting consolidated. Less and less people had kids, so then it was all down to Trent. And Trent took some big swings with crypto, and it didn't go as planned. And so that's why Trent is working at this Piggly Wiggly. And why he's not a very good sweeper. He doesn't really understand the broom needs to touch the ground. He just... It is genuinely hilarious watching someone rich try to do a job. It's a little disheartening, but you're also like, look at him go. Oh, I remember my first experience with Newport was a kid in my neighborhood. I didn't always live at the best neighborhoods. I'll put it like that. And there was a kid when I was little that moved in, and you could tell he was Newport. We were playing. I think we were just playing in like this lot, and he walked up to us, and he had just moved in with his parents, and you could tell he was Newport because his name. You could tell he was Newport because his name was Thurston. And I remember when he said it, and there's a thing with kids where, for whatever reason, and it just is what it is. Sometimes kids take a certain shine to each other, or they don't like each other, or whatever. But we liked him as soon as we met him. We just really did, and he was so earnest. He's a sweet kid, and so we were just like, you can play with us. We don't care. And we didn't even really have a concept of money in that way to look at him sideways, right? We were all just kids. But when he said that his name was Thurston, I was kind of like, ooh. That's the most punchable name I've ever heard in my life. So, look, I tell you what, we gonna call you 30. And if anybody asks why, just say you did something real bad 30 times. And so we used to love hanging out with 30. And 30 was Newport because his family had been rich for a long time. They probably owned a few farms. But 30's dad lost it all in the .com bubble. I guess if you don't know anything about it, back in the day when the internet was very new, a lot of companies were like adding these online sides to their brick and mortar stores, which was obviously super profitable for some businesses, and for some businesses it didn't matter at all because it was about the infrastructure of being able to send everything. But we didn't know that initially. So there were some companies whose stock price went up just because they had a website. And then it all came crashing down when people started looking for returns on these incredible stock prices. But most of these companies just had like a website with a broken link. And so, you couldn't pull your money out fast enough. And 30's dad didn't pull his money out at all. So they moved in next to us. And we take walks and stuff. We like walk around neighborhood once in a while and everything. And there was a dog. There was a dog that was in the yard of one of our our neighbors way down the street. And this dog was a big dog, and he had like a big, thick collar, and he had a chain that he would wear, and the chain had some length to it, and the chain was around the tree. And, 30, he hated it. He hated it every time he saw it. It made him sick that there was a dog that was outside chained up against a tree. It didn't matter how much room he had to run around and stuff. He just didn't like the concept. And he'd bring it up. Every time we passed by, he's like, they got that dog chained to the tree like some kind of animal. And I was like, yeah, 30. Crazy stuff. And look, I'm not even saying that is right. I'm just saying it was a very big dog. Like, it was... Like, every time 30 would, protest that he want to go over there, he's like, I just want to, let him free. You should be able to run around. I was like, all right, but, okay, listen. At that house, they live with that dog. So they probably know something we don't. Maybe they tried the whole freedom thing out. Maybe they used to have 2 dogs. That's a big-ass dog. Maybe I'm not saying you have to love it. I'm not saying it's not wrong. I'm just saying that they may have tried other things. Maybe they tried making him an inside dog. Maybe they used to have more family members. So you see what I'm saying? And there was one day where we were walking down the street together, and he peeled off from us, and he did it without saying anything, because I knew that he knew if he said something, we would try to stop him. But he just started walking over towards that house, and I told him, I was like, hey, I'm pretty sure that's a dog from the Sandlot. So you really don't need to be playing games. Don't go over there, right? And then even as we saw him kill, we were like, 30, where you going? 30, what are you doing? 30. Started saying it slow like it was his real name. 30! Get back over here. And this kid climbed the fence, jumped over, and the dog is laying down, but he's not asleep, but he's just sort of laying in the grass. And 30 jumped over the fence, ran over to the chain, and the chain had no lock. It was just wrapped. And so 30 pulled it a little bit, released the slack from the end of that chain, and the whole chain just drops to the ground. And now the dog has not been moving. The dog's just sort of laying there. But the dog heard the chain drop, and he felt the slack release on his collar. And the dog turned around and looked at 30, and even the dog was like, are you sure? You must be new poor. And so the dog turns around, and he just, I don't know, just, like when an animal is made of muscle? When they just have like phenomenal National Geographic level power? This dog whipped around and just started charging at 30, right? Now 30, in his very sweet mind, he thinks that this dog is bounding towards him for a hug. And so he actually starts to bend down and open his arms. He's just getting a wide stance. Now the dog, because the chain did have a ton of length to it. I want to be clear. This dog wasn't wrapped up against a tree like some Tom and Jerry cartoon. This dog actually was bounding for a while. And he was bounding so fast that it was either all 4 feet touching the ground or nothing. Like, the dog was like this, or it was like this. I've never seen a dog float like that. Like, the dog is coming at him like a bullet. And from where we were standing, by the way, all of us had been yelling run. We've been yelling run since we saw that the chain had no lock on it. And so then you see 30, just arms open. But even he started to be like, huh. I've never seen this sort of reaction from a young pup before. And the dog is bounding towards him. And as it starts to really get close, 30 immediately just turns around and starts to run. But his wires are so crossed, he's still in the crab stance. So he's like, ah! And he grabs the fence and he climbs up the fence. He climbs up the fence so fast that he doesn't even try to get over the other side. He just slams to the ground on the other side. And he gets up and he dusts himself off. And he walks up to us. And I'm like, I told you that was the dog from the Sandlot. Why would you go over there? It's your new poor ass. It's awesome to be here with you in Calgary. I appreciate y'all so much. It's really great to be here in Canada to get a break. Because when you live in the U.S., you like live there. And it's like all the time. Like you there like every day. Like unless you travel, you there every day. It's all happening all the time. You have the notification on your phone. It's bad. It's every day you wake up, you're like, oh, again. No, it's rough. It's not the best time. It is not great right now. You know. And I'm impressed by you all because you all keep up with your news and our news. Like, you know what's going on here, you know what's going on where we are and stuff. And yeah, I know that you're probably concerned because you read the news and it's close. But trust, we are more concerned because When I was a kid, there's this kid, I was just call him Laquan because rhymes with his name. But I always wanted to be really good at like climbing a tree. Like when I was reading stories growing up, some of my favorite characters were like very outdoorsy and they could climb trees real fast and everything. Maybe that'd be half the story was climbing the tree. And I just didn't have the grip. Out of fear of heights, I would just slide down. You know? I didn't have it like that, but Laquan was fast. Was like, you know, up here and just knew like where to put the foot to get the hand. To just had like an awareness of everywhere that his body was, you know, and he was able to get really high. And then one day I was seeing a neighbor. The neighbor was like, "Did you hear about Laquan?" I was like, No, I didn't hear. What happened? He was like, "Oh, he fell out of the tree, you know, and basically he got really high, but then a branch snapped, and so he had fallen, and then he bounced a couple times, and then he bounced between branches and just kind of hit You ever played pinball? He basically did that all the way down to where the actual final landing was pretty soft because every branch before that really broke his fall from what would have been a dangerous fall was now more of a plop with several lumps all over his body, right? And hearing that story was like painful because the kid that was telling me about it was there. So he was describing it in great detail. He was like, and then he was like, boom, and then he was like, boom, and then there was one branch he hit, he was like, oh! You know, boom, 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 boom. And hearing it was like jarring, you know? I can only imagine what it would have been like to be Laquan falling out of the tree. And that's what it's kind of like to be in the U.S. as you like hear. It's like boom, boom, ow, boom, 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 oh, boom. Because I try when I go to different places to read a little bit of their news. I have to admit to you that I am not like so internationally minded all the time that I'm reading everybody's news all the time. I'm mostly focused on the news where I'm at. But in preparation, coming to Canada, I've been coming to Canada off and on for the past 2 weeks, and I've been reading news of the places that I've been going to, and let me just say, truly, it has been so sweet. It has been fundamentally adorable to read and watch your news delivered with such earnestness. As if these are real emergencies. They're not, I guarantee they're not. The way, oh, okay. Even today, you know, I went to Montreal, I went to Ottawa, Calgary, and I was in Ottawa, and whew, just watching some local news, reading an article, and it was like a man was pulled over speeding. I mean, where are you off to in such a hurry, buddy? Is the car not enough? Is the vehicle not enough? You have to punch it. Maybe you should have left earlier, all right? Maybe think about that. Think about your own safety, safety of others, you know? Speeding. Now, look at yourself. Got yourself pulled over, now you're late, all right? A man today was pulled over speeding, and when the police pulled him over, it turns out he had drugs in his vehicle. I just think about the parents, you know? I think about... Sure, he was 45, but where did this start? Oh, something must be going on at home, you know? You know, because marijuana is legal. He had drugs. He had narcotics. You see that news and you're like, oh, that's adorable. No. Meanwhile, you'll turn on the news, living in the States, and they'll just be, man in Kentucky found dead, just legs. We don't know where. We have no idea what happened to the top half. It is just legs. We're assuming it's a man. These could be any legs, really. We just sort of said man because of the size of the shoes, but while we're at it, let's just be on the lookout for anyone. If you see any top halves missing a bottom half, please call this hotline. You know, you see it. You see it all around, even here. You know, come here, turn on the news, maybe read some news, and you see people angry, distraught. They're Canadians in Calgary, furious, right? Interviewing them, and they're like, I can't believe that our city, I can't believe that the province would put a sign right here. A sign right here, like a sign right here. I've parked here for years. What are they thinking? This is what happens when you lose connection to the people, all right? Meanwhile, in the U.S., Trump has tried to defund Elmo. I didn't do it. No, it's up for everybody. Bert, Ernie, Cookie Monster, anybody can get it. Nobody's safe. And so you see, when you come here and you get a break, you see people like upset about something, but it's not like an umbrella of an issue. It's just their issue. You know what I mean? There's just something going on with them personally. That's refreshing. It really is. As small or as big as the personal problem is, it's nice, It's nice to be able to talk to someone and get a sense of what's wrong with them. They're not having a good day. They're not happy, very angry or upset, but you're getting something from them that isn't this thing that it feels like no one can do anything about, Like, met a man in Montreal, and we just casually started chatting, and he seemed like something was wrong, and I don't know what led me to do it, but I was just like, how's your day going, And he was like, she left. Meanwhile, in the U.S., if you ask someone how their day is going, depending on who you ask, depending on the state or city, you're gonna get a very different answer. But a lot of the people that I've asked, hey, how's your day going? Maybe I'm just at a store. They're ringing me up. I'm like, how's your day going today? And then they're like, oh, you didn't hear? You didn't hear? He's outlawing reading. It's over. No, it's rough because then, you have Trump wins. I know y'all saw. And then he's talking wild. He's like, Canada's going to be the 51st state, right? I didn't say it. I do think, though, that one of the reasons, even the dog, even the dog. Dogs don't even have an understanding of like geographical boundaries or borders, and even the dog. That's wow. Did y'all do that on purpose? I know you've been booing every time somebody says 51st state. Did you teach the dogs to also? I think one of the things that did happen with that is that he said it in a way that was so glib and was so dismissive of not just Canada's like autonomy, but also he didn't even try to woo you. And I think it's because it's a hard sell. You know what I mean? You're telling me you don't want to be part of the United States, you don't want to get shot for free? No, in the U.S., let me tell you something. In the U.S., the United States of America, you get shot for free. You only have to pay to take the bullet out. You don't want to have the health care you have now, but not, you don't want to. No, you don't want your 12-year-old to read. at a 12-month-old level? Why? You know, I look around, I ask, why? You don't want to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars to an insurance company that will act like they don't know you when you call to fulfill your claim. Come on. You don't want to make the only food you can afford, food that you kind of don't even question what meat it is after a while. All right. To each their own. Because look, it is a tough sell to be the 51st. I don't think that it would really work. One, because of the things that we're used to. Just in government alone, you have a parliamentary process. We have Congress, right? You have several parties. You have lots of parties to choose from. I say lots because we have 2. So even 3 would be like, wow! Like more and more of the U.S. when you travel, it just feels like as someone from the States, when I go to other places and I'm learning whether it's their culture, different processes of government or just customs or something, I always come off like I'm not used to anything. Like they took me on a date and I got to the table and I was like, salt and pepper. Because that's what I'm used to. That's the totality of the spice rack of American politics. You get your salt and you get your pepper. Meanwhile, y'all have paprika. I'm not saying it's perfect. You have these like 5 parties, only 3 are probably ever gonna win, but you get these like choices, these different pushes, In the US, oof. We got Republicans, we got Democrats, and we got like Jill Stein. Like I've been learning about your parties. I really didn't realize how much deeper it went as far as like the seats and the majority, and that no confidence vote is a pretty big thing. That's crazy. A no confidence vote, okay. Look, because I found out about no confidence, and I was blown away. So basically, I know you live here. I'm not telling you what it is, I'm telling you how I found out what it was, right? Okay, so with the no confidence vote, which is basically, if I have it right, it's when you have your like leadership party in power, but everybody is like, they're bad. Like, this is horrible. I don't even know if they know what they're doing. And then you talk to them in interviews and they're like, look, we don't know, but we gonna figure it out. And so then you have no confidence in them. So then, they get pushed to a no confidence vote. They get that no confidence vote. Then, you have to rejig the government. Basically have to be like, all right, y'all are not it. Let's get somebody who is it, right? And that, as like someone from the States, that blows my mind. That you can just not have confidence. That you cannot have confidence in your leadership and you don't have to wait. Because trust me, it's not just this election. There have been plenty of elections throughout my entire life where people voted, somebody won, and the confidence dwindled within about 6 weeks. And then we were like, oh, in 3 years and some change, you're gonna find out how we the people feel. I hope you're ready for that. I don't think you can get people who are a part of a system that has like a parliamentary process that has no confidence votes and then give them what we have in the U.S. I don't know if that would go well to be like, no, I know we voted for him, but that was a different time, and we didn't know that he was out of his mind. We didn't know that he was completely. When he was talking, when he was running, all the brains seemed like they were in the head. And so people were like, I like what he said. I think, yeah. And then he won, and then we realized that the brains were gone. And now we have no confidence, and we should do something about that presently, right? Before there's no food on the shelves. A lack of choice was how I knew I was broke. Yeah, I mean, when I was like out on my own for the first time, I had a choice between these two types of cereals I could afford. One was like a little corn pop thing. Whatever it was the only ingredient was high fructose corn syrup. And then there was this other cereal that was like, okay, I'm positive it was for people. I'm 100% positive it was for people, but it was built like dog food, okay? It just had a very pellety look to it. It had when you poured it, it had the brrr of like pellet. Didn't help it also went in a bowl, right? And that was what I did back and forth because I was broke. And I just had these two choices. I could just go from one to the other, and one got me real like jittery and excited, and I usually crashed by like 2 p.m. And then the other one definitely felt like I should be barking if I'm eating it. Then I got a little bit of money in my pocket. Ooh, I got spoiled for choice. Then I didn't even know what to do. I'd buy some cereal and I'd be like, it's good, but it's not the best. It's fine. Completely forgetting it could have just been these two. You know, that's what it feels like. Look outside looking in, that you have like a whole parliamentary process. I'm not saying it's perfect. I'm sure you have your problems. I get that. You don't tell anybody, but I'm positive that you have your own problems. I get it. And I understand people's frustration. I know that there's been strikes in Canada. I know that there are people that are worried about housing. A lot of the same things that people are worried about in other countries. It's not as if I'm projecting some like absolute heaven and haven onto you. I know that it's a country full of people and people have problems. It's just we have more. It's a lot. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot. And I just don't think that it would work, you know, because even with a prime minister versus a president, your prime minister still fits in that legislative branch, you know. There's a lot of things reining your prime minister in, no matter who they are. And a president we're coming to realize by accident is a king. That's a king. We thought we left, and we really did. We were like, we don't want a king. Get out of here, Britain. And Britain was like, give it a couple hundred years. You'll want one of us. No, because we have this different branch, this executive branch where the president's power resides, that is deciding to not really pay attention to or heed our legislative or judicial branch, you know, because it's really the legislative branch that's supposed to decide if we defund Elmo. That's really their purview, but he was like, no, I'm the only one that gets to look like this. You most recently had a decision to make. You most recently had an election. And, you know, I was here before the election, now I'm here after the election, and I was never gonna tell anybody what to do. I did, while I was in Montreal and Ottawa, tell people to just like look across the fence. Just check if you like that. You know, because they always say that the grass is greener, but sometimes your neighbor doesn't have grass. Sometimes it's just a Buick on blocks. And that is tough. You know, because then our news would become your news. Because look, don't be wrong, like I said, I'm fully aware. And I also believe I'm open to the ideas that Canada has problems I'm not even aware of, right? Like there's a chance, I'm imagining, right? If you're in the right place at the right time for this bad thing to happen, if you go out into one of your beautiful parks and you where you're not supposed to be, you playing around, it's possible to get bit by a moose. Right? It's not all roses and bubbles over here. You can really get got over in Canada, right? You could get bit by a moose if you put yourself in that situation. You really stay in those neighborhoods, you know what I mean? If you're really trying to live that lifestyle, you know? That's what comes with it. But trust me when I tell you, you're not ready for daily U.S. news. Sure, you could get bit by a moose here, but just the other day, a man used an alligator to rob a liquor store. Which is one of the more effective robberies you can engage in, right? You know, because you walk in to a liquor store, I'm assuming to buy some alcohol, make a night of it, you know? And then there are people in the US that are desperate. You know, desperate because we don't share the same social safety nets, we don't even share some of the same attitudes around a network of community the way that Canadians do as a baseline. I know not everybody agrees, and you have your conservatives, your liberals and everything, but for the most part, there's a genuine understanding that like, okay, healthcare, we're gonna have that, we're gonna do our best with housing, we're gonna do our best with all these things, right? And in the US, it's mostly like, hey, get it how you live. And sometimes getting it how you live includes robbing a liquor store, going to where you know there will be cash, going there with an alligator that might be a pet. I have no idea. I truly don't know if this is a pet or if this is an alligator that he found, or if this is an alligator that he like going in on it with. He's like, look, if I get the cat, because look, I do like the idea of them being partners. I do like the idea of them getting together and being like, listen, all right, you like raw chicken, you like raw chicken thighs, okay? If I have cash, I can buy that stuff, I can give you some of that, so we'll split it in chicken thighs and cash. Cash to me, chicken thighs to you, just so that we're clear, right? So I'm gonna go in, I'm gonna pick you up like a puppy, right? But then I'm gonna grab the back of your tail, I'm gonna swing you around, right? And when I swing you around, I want you to be like, ah! Just really make a show of it, keep the mouth open, let them know what could happen if they don't act right, right? Because he didn't go in, this man did not walk in, hold it like a rifle, like anybody can get it. And, hey, don't move, right? No, this man came in, swinging gator at people, right? And people couldn't run out fast enough. Now, it was a mistake to start swinging it in the doorway because you really only want the actual cashier to be intimidated. Now, you've made 8 people think, all right, it's all of us against him, the alligator. You have more adversaries than is necessary. You know, then he trying to get the cash and everything, but it's hard to get the cash because the alligator, he not really thinking like a robber. Alligator was told to do his thing, so he doing his thing. Like that wiggle that they do, going as hard as he can, throwing hip, right? Like, alligators don't have booty, but if they did, he'd be twerking, right? Snapping and everything, which does make it hard to get the cash, right? Because now this cashier trying to put it all in his hand. This dude didn't have a bag. So now he just got to stuff cash in his pocket while holding on to the tail of the alligator. And the alligator, you know, I don't know. I don't speak alligator, but I'm assuming the alligator is like, is this part of it? Because after a while, the alligator is being more difficult than helpful, right? Stuff, and then he runs out, you know, they call the cops and everything. And look, I can't imagine what it's like to be a cop that gets the call that there's someone robbing a liquor store with an alligator. I'm sure those cops were like, couldn't it just be a gun? No, you're not ready for news like that. You know, because I'm sure, look, there's property crimes, there's violent crimes everywhere in the world. You know, you have your crime. But it seems like, from what I've been reading about your crime, that it does, and I don't mean this in like an insensitive way, but it does seem like most of your crime kind of like makes sense. Like you get to the bottom of it, and it's like, oh, he wanted what he had, and so he stole it from him, right? The U.S. has a lot of weird crime because a lot of our resources have been shut down, right? So some of the crime is not necessarily just to do the crime, it's just people doing what they think is necessary in their head that happens to be a crime. Like, a good example was, there was a man who called the police because he broke into this restaurant, right? Broke into the restaurant and I think he just wanted food. That's what I'm gathering from like the call. So he just wanted food. He called in to 911 and they were like, 911, what's your emergency, right? And he's telling them off top, look, okay, I'm not where I'm supposed to be. All right, I did break in here, get a little something to eat, make a little snack, all right? But somebody else is in here and y'all need to come quickly. Like, I'm all for a little burglary, but somebody in here being weird, like y'all need to come for real. Oh, I'm scared. Oh, please come arrest me. Because this is my thing as well, is that Canada would only become the 51st state by legislation or by force. It's not gonna happen by legislation, because even if the more conservative counterparts of your government really wanted it, the people have made clear that they don't want it, right? And so then there would be steps taken, there'd be no confidence, there'd be all these things to stop that thing from happening. And the one thing that I don't think people are counting on is, even if there was an attempt to do it by force, people think that Canadians don't fight. But your favorite sport, your favorite sport in the world, you have access to all the sports. You have access to all the sports. I understand it gets very cold here, but the one that you picked was the one where a fight could break out at any time. And not just like break out. Like sometimes there's a reason. Sometimes there's a clear, I don't really follow hockey because mainly I can't see it. I want to follow it so bad. Everybody seems like they're having a good time, but every time I've watched hockey, I've had to pretend that I know what's happening. You know what I mean? It's like being tone deaf watching like a singing show, like a singing competition, like watching X Factor tone deaf, and then you're just waiting for other people to cheer, so you're like, oh, they getting it, no. Yeah, actually, no, you're right, they bad. No. anytime I've watched hockey, I've just seen the people's heads move. I've tried to move my head where their head moves, and I try to look at where I think they're looking at and everything. And then you hear the clicking and the clacking of the sticks and stuff. And sometimes it will click clack extra, so I'm like, oh, the puck must be over there, but it's not. It's not at all. It's actually over here. I don't know what they're doing over there. And then somebody will be rammed into a wall, a clear wall, so you can see. I've never seen only in hockey and adult films have I seen somebody pressed up against glass like this. The way they... Wow. That, I remember the first time I saw it, I was like, ooh, y'all think he gonna come through? No, and then you have the fights. And the fights are very interesting to me. Truly, because it's like, there's a strange energy to the fights. No, you never really know when they're gonna pop off, and sometimes there's a backstory. Sometimes it's like, oh, look, 3 games ago, you don't just have fights, you have drama with the fights. You have a real soap opera to follow. And then you see them and throw those gloves off. I remember the first time I saw it, they threw the gloves off and I was like, ooh, won't your hands get cold? And then they go swinging each other. And then what I really love is they grab the jersey for leverage. Missing, horribly, missing, nothing but missing, and really try to get close. Come here. Missing. But every once in a while, you get somebody with incredible balance and hand-eye coordination. They throw those gloves off, they grab them. You would think they weren't on skates. They swinging around and sliding, but they're still like... Incredible. Anytime, anybody can get it. Incredible stuff. People really believe that Canadians don't fight, that they don't have fight in them. We didn't know you had booze, But I knew because a while back, I saw a news story that took place in Canada, trying to be international. And I saw this news story about a man who was woken up in the night when 2 burglars broke into his home and were trying to figure out what they could take. They clearly hadn't done a good job casing his residence. So they're just looking for whatever, right? And then he wakes up, and let me first say this. If someone breaks into my home and is looking for what to steal, I don't know if I'm gonna confront them immediately. I think I might try to come up with a plan. Maybe I'll pretend I'm a ghost. They break in, I go to the closet that's closest to a vent. I'm like, ooh, spirits live here, ooh, y'all better stop, ooh, you gonna have to return it or something, like, ooh, you gonna be haunted, ooh, you don't wanna be haunted, I don't care how big you are, you can't fight haunted, everything in here cursed, you don't want those problems, you know? Maybe that doesn't work, maybe they're not afraid of ghosts, maybe they don't believe in ghosts, maybe they know it's me. Plan B, I'm gonna act like a bigger man. They haven't seen me yet. No? Lean around the corner. Hey! Hey, don't make me put my killing shoes on. Yeah, you lucky I don't have my shoes on right, because if I put my shoes, ooh, everybody dying in here. Because that's plan C. To act like my own dog. You know? Lean into my phone, make a recording, put on the ground, slide it down after I hit play. That way they think it's behind them. I'm probably gonna cough. Trying to bark makes me cough. And then, last resort, yeah, might have to fight them. No, I have to just run up on them and do what men do. I have to roll up on them real quick and start biting as hard as I can. Yeah, please believe you're gonna wish it was a dog when I get done, all right? I brushed and I flossed tonight, so get ready. No, but these dudes, they broke into this guy's home and they had ski masks on, and I don't know about you, but if somebody already got the ski mask on, it just makes me feel like they're a professional criminal. Do you know what I mean? Like, you got the ski mask on already, I'm like, uh-oh, this is real crime we're dealing with right now. And this dude doesn't hesitate at all. And all he got on is his shorts, by the way. He just, like, shorts, no shirt, anything, and he starts pushing them up against the wall, and he starts fighting both of them, and really swinging, and they're swinging at him, and he's taking some hits, but he's giving a lot. Just bow, 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 bow. He's like fight juggling them. Because he'll hit one, and that one will fall, and then he gets to concentrate on this one for a second. Bow, 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 and then this one gets up, he's like, you get some too, bow, right? And then their fight, he puts up a real fight to the point where at first they're ganging up on him. And then they're both like, look, I don't know how nice this apartment is. Maybe nothing in here is worth these lumps we're catching. And so then they try to leave. But he does keep punching them as they're trying to leave. He does just keep whooping ass as they're clearly turned around trying to exit now. He like trying to choke one from behind and kick the other one. And then they run out. They run out of his home. He successfully defended his castle. But then he does also leave. So then he left. I was like, uh-oh. And then you just see in the security camera in his garage, him drag one of them back in. And I was like, normally, in the US, there's a sentiment around this sort of thing. Like, there's warnings, it's like, you know, there's yard signs, don't come unless you're armed, blah, blah, blah. Like, there's a very frenzied passion, there's a fever dream in the US of legally being able to kill someone that comes into your home. We like it a lot. There are some people that are like, please break in, I want to kill you, right? And that is almost always so that the person who wants to do the killing can use a gun. They want to shoot someone. They want to be able to shoot someone. And this man, this Canadian, he didn't have a gun. He
desperately want to use these hands. He brought them back into the, I don't even know what crime this is now. Like this was burglary and it has turned to kidnapping, I think. I don't know if it can still be self-defense if you dragging him back in and dragging him by the top of the ski mask too. So he over here kicking, fighting, going backwards, right? And so then he brings that dude back in, punching, closes the door. This dude tried to get up against the door. He throws it back down and locks the door. And I was like, y'all done accidentally broke into the devil's house. That's crazy. And I think he had one of those things where instead of a key, it was like a combination thing. So as soon as you put in the combination, the lock will start to turn because that's what's happening. Because now the dude who was the second burglar, he must have been running and realized nobody was behind him. So then he comes back and he trying to get in, and then this dude just keep relocking it, right? So then finally, you know, this dude just manages to get the ski mask off the guy, so now he sees his face, now his face is on the camera and everything. But then, I don't know how well this burglar could fight. It didn't seem like well at all. But he does finally like create like a little butterfly situation with his legs, which destabilizes the homeowner. So that guy falls to the ground. Then he goes for his own takedown on the burglar, but the burglar swings down, sits, and just has him in like a headlock, but not a headlock that's like effective. It looks like a headlock just so he can catch a break. You know, so when you see Trump talk about like a 51st state, I feel like if I worked at the White House, I would just bring an iPad and like, Mr. President, this is what they do.
Do y'all already know about Kristi Noem? Like, is this... Okay, if you don't know, she's a politician for now. She's in South Dakota, and she has blown up. I mean, I'm technically late to the story. Like, she blew up on the news and every platform because everyone thought that she was like the front runner to be Trump's VP pick, and she released a book, you know, to just capitalize on that possibility. Was releasing a book around now, and in the book she tells a story about shooting her puppy. I know. And when I first heard about it, because I heard about it before I read about it, when I first heard about it, I was like, nobody's that dumb to just volunteer a story about them doing the one thing that'll bum everybody out across America, no matter what. Yeah, I mean, like, and she's telling the story, and she relays the story like a war story or something. And basically, she shot the dog, and then after she shot the dog, she was walking back to her house, I guess very proud of herself. And then she saw her goat, and she was like, I might as well, you know, because I got more than one bullet in the... And then she kills her goat, and then she told everyone. And I feel like there's a whole thing of politicians being out of touch, right? Like, like sometimes you'll hear about a politician saying something, doing something, Like a good example is like the way that people were during the pandemic, how they would just be like, oh, well, now's the time to dip into our savings. It's like, what are you talking about, hour, right? It's a very out-of-touch thing to say because you as a politician are very rich because every single one of them in Congress, usually at least, engages in some form of insider trading. And very few of them are trying to stop it, So out of touch is one thing. Killing your dog and telling everybody about it. That sounds like somebody that wants to retire but doesn't know how. Like, you know what I mean? Like, political life's a bit much.